Hello, right now I am in Iceland and I am going to talk a little bit about what I have been getting up to. So watch and listen. I am in Reykjavik right now, the capital city and largest city in Iceland. Reykjavik is the centre of Iceland's cultural, governmental and economical activity. Reykjavik is a very modern city. It has really interesting architecture and landscapes surrounding the city. It has really great public transport. There are buses all the time and it makes it very easy to travel around the city and to see a lot of things. The food is really good. There are a lot of amazing bakeries. The beer is really good as well, however it is quite expensive and it is cold. It is really cold. So I need to wear scarf, hat, gloves and several layers every time I go out. And one of the things that characterises Reykjavik and Iceland in general is the extremes of the length of the day. So parts of the year the day is really short. From May to July, daylight is essentially permanent. However, from the start of December to midway through January, day length drops to about 5 hours. So people living in Reykjavik or in Iceland who aren't from here often take supplements. So they take vitamin D because of the lack of sunlight during this time of the year. However, the economic landscape is really good in Iceland. There are a lot of good jobs, so that is why it is quite popular for foreigners to come here to work. In fact, when I am walking through town, I can hear a lot of Spanish being spoken. I have been here for 3 weeks and I am having a great time. I enjoy visiting the tourist attractions in the city. One of them is the church, Halgrimmer Church, which is very, very nice. I visited this church and I recorded a video about it. Behind me is the Church of Halgrimmer, a church in Reykjavik, the capital city of Iceland. This church was named after Halgrimmer Pétursson, an Icelandic poet and clergyman, and designed by Gudjon Samuelsson, an Icelandic architect. This church sits at 74.5 metres tall, so it is the tallest church in Iceland. It was designed to symbolise the nature and scenery of Iceland, so the mountains and the glaciers and also the trap rocks. So trap rocks are like stacked rocks, and a very popular example of this is actually the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. And you can see this reflected in the pillars which run up the side of the steeple of the church. Now, the original design of this church was shorter. However, the leaders of the Church of Iceland wanted it to be taller, so it was the tallest in Iceland. Similar to what you would find in Glasgow. All of the churches in Glasgow in Scotland are very narrow and tall because they wanted to be the tallest church in this city. And this church actually took about 41 years to build. And it is still used for modern ceremonies and weddings today. And I really like this church. I think the aesthetic is very reflective of the look and the feel of Iceland. Another thing I did was I drove the Golden Circle. This is a famous route that links 3 of the most popular tourist attractions. So I started the route in Reykjavik and I drove first to Thingvellir National Park. This is Iceland's first national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Snow-capped mountains surrounded the route. It was amazing. Thingvellir National Park is also the meeting point of 2 tectonic plates, the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. And Iceland's landmass was actually created from the magma that bubbled up from these 2 tectonic plates moving apart. That is why you can still see volcanic activity throughout Iceland. I continued to drive clockwise through this golden circle tour, and you come across a geyser geothermal area within the Haukadulur Valley. So I stopped here to discover the geysers, and I recorded a video about them. So behind me is Stroker. Stroker is a fountain type geyser found in the southwestern part of Iceland, and Stroker is the second largest geyser found in this area. It typically erupts about every 6 to 10 minutes, and it can reach heights of up to 40 metres tall when it does, although typically it reaches heights of 15 to 20 metres tall. A geyser is a type of spring, a spring known for intermittent discharges of water. The water is ejected forcefully from the ground and is usually accompanied by steam as well. And these are known to be found in areas of volcanic activity, like here. And the geyser effect is due to the proximity of magma. So the surface water works its way down underground and comes into contact with heated rocks, and the boiling of the pressurized water results in the geyser effect, like that. So the hot water and steam erupts out of little holes in the ground, and the geyser behind me erupts maybe every 6 to 10 minutes, but due to the deposition of minerals underground, the frequency and activity of a geyser can slow down and even stop. So the larger geyser in this area hasn't been known to erupt in quite a long time, even years. I really wanted to see this one erupt properly behind me because it is quite impressive. However, it is a waiting game.
I know.
Watch it now.
What?
After the geysers, I continued along the Golden Circle route and came across Gullfoss, which is a waterfall. Gullfoss translates to Golden Falls, and Gullfoss is one of Iceland's most beloved waterfalls. It is iconic. As soon as you get out of your car in the car park, there is just mist, and this is water coming up from the falls, so you get quite wet. The waterfall is found in Vita River Canyon, along the Golden Circle in the southwest of Iceland. The water in Vita River travels from a glacier, the Langjökull Glacier, before it cascades down this waterfall, 32 metres or about 105 feet. And in Gullfoss waterfall there are 2 stages, so the water falls down, travels along the river and falls again. So some people actually consider Gullfoss to be 2 different features. One 11 metres high and the second 21 metres high. Regardless, it is pretty spectacular. After Gullfoss, I continued to drive along the Golden Circle, but instead of circling back to Reykjavik, I drove along the south coast of Iceland, driving east, and that is where I came across Eldrun, the largest lava flow in Iceland. Eldrun spans 565 square kilometres. It is huge. You are just driving through this for ages. The volcanic eruption that created the Eldrun lava flow lasted for 2 full years, from 1783 all the way through to the end of 1784, and it is considered the most poisonous eruption to date. So poisonous it nearly caused the entire population of Iceland to migrate to Denmark due to famine and disease of about half of the domestic animals in Iceland. The Apollo 11 crew in 1969 actually trained here because of the similarity of the rock to the actual surface of the moon. Nowadays, the land is covered in a moss, which took decades to grow, and the lava field is actually very delicate, so you aren't allowed to walk across it. There was areas set up where you could walk across, say, a small path. However, the majority of the area is closed off because of its fragility. It was a cool place to go and visit. After this, I continued to drive east towards Jökulsárlón at the head of a glacier, which I am going to try to pronounce. So, Breiðamerkurjökull glacier.
So behind me is Jökulsárlón, which literally translates from Icelandic to glacial river lagoon, and it is a big lake filled with icebergs, different icebergs which have broken off of a glacier. There's a huge glacier up there which you can see up here, and this glacier sits about 1.5 kilometers from the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, which is over here. As the glacier melts and recedes, this lagoon is getting bigger and bigger. And we have actually witnessed some of the icebergs breaking and being dislodged and coming off, and then floating down the lagoon towards the ocean. And that is because the temperature is rising, it's increasing, and this is causing the icebergs to melt and dislodge. So there is actually quite a lot of wildlife here as well. You see lots of different types of birds. So you see swans and geese as well, and there are seals too. I think I saw the nose of a seal up there, but we saw another one swimming in amongst the icebergs as well, and there are fish in the lagoon too. And this is a really popular tourist attraction as well. So it took us about 5 to 6 hours to drive here from Reykjavik in the west of Iceland, but it is really worth the journey because it is really impressive, and it's not very often that you can actually come and see a glacier of this size. This lake was also recorded to be about 284 meters deep, so it is the deepest lake in Iceland as well. And since the 1970s, it has actually increased in size by 4 times. 4 times the size now, and that is showing you how fast this glacier is melting and receding. This area, so the lagoon and the glacier, were also used to film a lot of my favourite movies. So they filmed James Bond here, and Batman Begins, and also Lara Croft. And you can understand why, because it is really, really impressive.
And I enjoyed the drive just as much as visiting this site, because you are driving along the coast, so you have the sea to your right and snow-capped mountains to your left, and you can see the glacier from miles away. It was a little tricky because I was driving on the other side of the road to what I am used to back in the UK, but I quickly became accustomed to this, and I really enjoyed the experience of driving in Iceland. And Iceland is an amazing place. I really recommend visiting it. However, in the summer months, so you get longer days. Otherwise, you may need to take supplementary vitamins to stay happy. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening to me talk about my time in Iceland. I am loving it here, and I am disappointed that I will be leaving soon. So thank you for watching and listening, and I will see you soon. Bye.